There's a lot of weird shit. It was, you know, okay, that's how I would sum up CES 2022, man. It was weird. You know what? Let's start with Zen 3 Plus. Okay, so they were talking about this for the first little bit, and I'm like, is this on mobile or is this legit? Like, what the hell is this? Mobile only? Here's the weird thing about this announcement. Mobile only actually does have RDNA 2 12 compute units. Oh yeah, that's a good song. Right? DDR5 for the bandwidth to feed RDNA, right? Feed RDNA. APU. 8 cores. And then they were saying how it's like 1080p high 60 FPS, no problems, right? And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then like 20 minutes goes by in the seminar. I'm like, why isn't this available on CPU? What the fuck? Why? What is this? Oh, and they're calling it oh yeah, man. AMD's naming says the Ryzen 6000. And then Zen 4 is Ryzen 7000. It's like, this is going, I don't like this shit at all, dude. Yeah, so anyway, this, I'm actually, so when it comes to laptops, I think this is going to be the GOAT, to be honest. Like a thin and light laptop with this APU in it, I think that's going to be a good laptop, dude. We're finally getting to the point where like thin and light mobile laptops is going to be sick, right? I don't think it's 5 gigahertz all core though. She only said that Zen 4 was 5 gigahertz all core, not this one, right? This was super weird. Only 8 core was shown. Boost clock was lower than standard one. Then 5800X, right? On average, 15% faster. Here is the key. Here's the key. With 3D V-Cache. It's slower in CSGO. What have I been telling you guys this entire time? 5900X, 5800X 3D, CSGO tie. Cache only helps memory latency starved scenarios. If a game already fits in the cache, so a cache does not increase CPU core IPC, clock speed. Actually, it seems like it reduces clock speed, right? Clock speed, etc. So in games like CSGO, Alder Lake still destroys. Now, okay, here's the tricky part. Mainstream reviewers, well, we already know this actually. Mainstream reviewers might show that 5800X 3D is fastest because they don't tune memory, and more cache equals less effort on users' part. That's it. That's all it is. So like if you throw like fucking 500 megabytes of cache on that shit, you don't even need to overclock your memory. It's all going on the cache. You know what I mean? So if you overclock your memory, Alder Lake will completely annihilate Zen 3D, because the IPC of Alder Lake is just so fucking massive, dude. It's massive, and the clock speed is just too fast, right? So anyway, that was my takeaway. Oh, and reduced clock speed from heat, maybe. Because you guys know how the 5800X runs hella hot? It runs hot, dude. I think it's the hottest one. 5800X, hottest one of them all. Just dense as shit, right? You throw an extra 3D cache chiplet on that shit, runs even hotter. So I'm thinking maybe they couldn't put it on 2 CCDs because it runs too hot. I don't know why else they wouldn't do it. Or yields are just too low, right? Yields are too low to do 2 chiplets with it. Possible. Because they didn't talk about 3D stacking on Zen 4. Only on this. So when Lisa Su came out and showed it, it felt like she didn't want to announce it. I swear to God, dude. Hang on. It felt like she regretted announcing that for some reason.
We're proud to say the combination of the Zen 3 core and AMD 3D cache.
You could even actually just dive in to see what their I bet you they just use like 3200 megahertz RAM or some fucking dumb shit, right?
Once again, makes Ryzen the fastest gaming CPU in the world. And I'm happy to say that Ryzen 7 5800X 3D will be available starting this spring. Zen 4.
You see it? Did you see how fast? It's like, okay, let's stop talking about this now. Get over to Zen, get over to the good stuff, right? She tried to like.
Built on 5nm process technology, Zen 4 will extend our performance.
Do you see how much more stoked she is to talk about Zen 4 though? She's way more excited about that shit, right?
Watt leadership in desktop PCs.
Way more stoked.
All new 5nm.
You see, she did the whole. You know when she's stoked about something, she does this, right? Always, right? That's how you know.
The Ryzen 7000 desktop processor. It's currently running in our labs, and the performance looks incredible.
Yeah, see, she's way more stoked about that shit. She's like, fuck this Zen 3D shit. It feels like that was like a failed, not experiment, but that's like, that might be like, their version of Rocket Lake, right? Just like this hot fucking furnace of a CPU that just kind of performs the same, right?
Ryzen 7000 CPUs. We're introducing an all-new AM5 platform.
Oh yeah, this is whatever.
On track to bring Ryzen 7000 and AM5 to the market.
I do like the way the IHS looks though. That looks fucking sick. That looks mean, dude. I like that.
The second half of this year. Now to wrap up, 5800X 3D will launch in the spring.
See, why didn't they announce the other ones? So, if you're going by her words, the 5900X was the fastest gaming CPU, so why didn't they put cache on that one? So, cache diminishing returns, right? Maybe there's no point in putting that much cache on 2 chiplets, right? Then it's like, all the games they tested were single player AAA, right? So let's go back to our favorite friend, the Warzone, right? 12900K. The only reason the 5950X does as well as it does in Warzone, even with that laggy ass chip, is because it's 16 cores. So they're taking away the only advantage AMD had and cutting it in half because they're targeting single player games. That's why, right? In single player games, 5600X equals 5950 in gaming. It literally does in single player games. So their whole benchmark suite was all single player games, right? That's the egregious largest mistake that AMD and most of the other companies, they test like fucking Tomb Raider. Like, of course this is gonna have more FPS in Tomb Raider than a 5950X, right? Of course, with a 3D cache, right? Anyway, I thought that was pretty dumb. So Adderall Starks, my man. Adderall.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna say it.
It means less people will upgrade to Zen 4. That's possible. Or it would just look embarrassing. So like it might just be simpler than that, right? Like if you show an 8 core beating 12 core, like the 5900X, it looks more impressive. If you show 8 core Zen 3D and 16 core Zen 3D, and the FPS is exactly the same on these two chips in those single player games, it doesn't look impressive. It looks completely meaningless, right? So that's what I'm assuming it is. It's like, oh, if we put this 3D stacked shit on these higher core count, because they don't test Warzone, right? Now we'll never know, right? But it's like, oh, if we put this 3D stacked shit on these single player games, the FPS doesn't improve at all. So why would we even waste our time to even show that? Right? That's the angle I think is what happened there. They think it's just pointless, right? There has to be a diminishing return of cash on those games, right? There has to be. Let me catch you up here. Do not get one until I test one. For God's sakes, just don't do it. I already know it's going to be slower than a 12900K. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's going to be slower. 3090 Ti. 84 SM. And 21 gigabits per second memory, I think. Or was it 20? It was 21 gigabits per second memory. Equals 0 FPS. What's my memory at right now? My 3080 Ti here is already at 22.5 gigabits per second on the memory. 0 FPS. 0. This product is for people that don't know how to overclock their shit. That's all it is. And higher Founders Edition power limit. 0 FPS. That's all it is, dude. That's all it is. Anyway, there's literally nothing else you need to say about this product. So at best, Godbin versus Godbin. At best. 84 divided by 82. 2.4%, which would translate to maybe like 1.5% FPS versus 3090. This is so let's say it's $2,000. So wait a minute. $2,000 divided by $1,500. Oops. Divided by 1,500. 33% price increase for 1% FPS increase. There you go, boys. 3090 Ti in a nutshell. Your 3090 is obsolete / paperweight. Dog shit now. Sell to me for $1,000. Just sell it to me right now. Sell while you can. You know it's obsolete. DM me. Just in case if anybody you know decides to panic sell their shit. Hit this up. Hit me up. I got you. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure you get a fair price for your 3090 before Jensen bends you over and fucks you. I'll make sure you get a good price. Anyway, that's how dumb that product is. Let's move on. Another kind of a dumb product. Don't know what to say about this one. 5.5 gigahertz single core equals useless because every fucking game uses more than one core. 5.2 gigahertz all core equals 12900K, already does that. Now, let's say you get, this comes back to the 10900K all over again, dude. So you would have 10900K god bins doing 5.4 all core in games, right? And you'd have like the shittiest ones doing 5.2 all core. It's gonna be the same thing again with this, you know what I mean? So again, what's the FPS difference here? 5400 divided by 5200, 4%. 4% faster. So, and if that's perfect scaling. So if you're at 200 FPS, 12900K, 208 FPS, 12900KS. Sell me your 12900K for cheap. It's obsolete now. That's it. That's all. That's literally, there's nothing else more to talk about. That's it. That's it. What the fuck? I literally have nothing else to say about these products. It's that simple. You just do the math. Just do the math. There's nothing. Unless it comes with a cool ass box though. You know what? I still have my 9900 KS box. I love that box too. It says like special edition on it. I'm like, I'll pay an extra $40 for that box. And I did. And I did. You know what I mean? It was still a worse bin than my launch day 9900K. You know what I mean? Okay, Intel Arc. This was another stupid one, man. I feel like this entire CES was so dumb. The monitor talk was the best, right? Intel Arc, only mobile. I bet you a lot of people missed that. They never ever said once that it was coming out on desktop in 2022. Not once. They only ever said mobile, mobile partners, mobile. They were very specific in their terminology. Very specific, dude. Yeah, a lot of people missed that. They never said Alchemist or whatever is coming to desktop. Not once, dude. There's no example of it. They never talked about it. Nothing. In that entire 60-minute presentation, it was never said that Arc was coming out on desktop at any point in 2022. The Intel GPUs. They talked about how like the Intel GPU will work with the CPU in tandem and all this shit. All that technology, entire presentation was about laptops. The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, again, nothing else to talk about here because they didn't talk about any of it. I just wanted to, the only reason I even brought this up was so that people that did miss it, they were only talking about mobile and laptops in that entire presentation. So all the info that you think you might have gotten, it was all for laptops, guys. So there's nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing to talk about. That's it. CES 2022. 3090 Ti, 5800 X3D. Golden rule number 1. Anyone remember? Nothing ever changes. Move along, boys. Back to Back to gaming. We're done with this fucking CES. That's it. I guess Zen 4 would be. They didn't really do any examples on that one, but I mean, Zen 4 Q2. No, they didn't say Q. They said second half. That's actually important, a distinction there. Second half 2022, which means Q4, which means fucking Q4. So we're not going to see. So the hardware that we have now is, or the FPS that we have now and the hardware that we have now is what we're gonna have until next November. Simple as that. Whatever you got now is what you got now for the next year, boys. In terms of FPS and or October, sure, whatever, that area there, whatever. This is all fucking meaningless. So all the performance that you have now is the performance that you're gonna have for the next year, because there's nothing coming out. There was no Lovelace, there was no 6950 XT, there was no more discrete GPU talk, there was nothing, dude. This is all it. This is what we got for the next year. So that's it. Anything on 4000? Nothing on 4000 GPUs, man. Nothing. Only the 3090 Ti. There's nothing. This is it. Nothing ever changes. So 2022 is going to be a pretty weak ass year in terms of hardware, for sure. Weak. Except for the monitors though, dude. I'm still stoked about the monitors. Stoked about monitors. I think the monitors are being a little more overlooked here, man. I might do some monitor content on my channel, seriously. Like monitors and audio has been exciting me a lot more than this dumb shit. Like 3090 Ti, 1200 KS, 5800 XD. It's like, what the fuck? What videos am I gonna do on this, man? It's like, 3090 versus 3090 Ti max FPS Warzone. Exact same. 5800 X3D, 12900K Warzone FPS max boost. Double up arrow. Same FPS, guys. 12900 KS. It just goes on. It's the most boring ass fucking shit, dude. So fucking boring. It's the same shit. I might just go fucking do monitors and audio now, man. Seriously. For real. It's ridiculous. No, the benchmark videos are so fucking boring. They all perform the same. All of it. You know what I mean? Except the 12900K was a banger. It was.